My name is Elena. I am 26 years old. I lived alone in a small room in the city. The walls were thin. The window was broken. In winter, cold air came in. I had one chair, one bed, and one old lamp. I did not have a TV. I did not have a heater. My life was simple, but hard. I had many bills. I had student debt. I needed to send money to my mother. She lived in a village far away. She was sick and needed medicine. I called her every week. She always said, "Don't worry about me." But I did worry. I knew she was not well. I sent what I could, but it was never enough. Some nights I ate only bread. Sometimes I went to bed hungry. My shoes had holes. My clothes were old. I felt tired all the time. Life in the city was fast. People had nice phones, nice cars, nice clothes. I had nothing. Just a small bag, a few coins, and my quiet room. One day, my friend Sarah told me about a party. She said it was at a luxury hotel. It was free to enter. She said many rich people would be there. I didn't want to go. I said, "I don't have anything nice to wear." She said, "Just come. Maybe you will meet someone. You never know." I thought about it. I had no plans. My head was full of stress. I said, "Okay." I put on my only black dress. I brushed my hair. I used cheap lipstick. That was all I had. We took the train to the hotel. It was tall, bright, and clean. The lights inside were golden. Everything smelled nice. There were flowers and soft music. Women wore red dresses and diamonds. Men wore dark suits and shiny watches. I felt small and out of place. I stayed near the wall. I did not talk to anyone. I just watched. I told myself, this is not my world. Then I saw him. He stood near the window. He was older than the other men. His hair was gray. His suit was dark. His face was calm. He looked like someone important. He held a glass, but he did not drink. He looked at people, but not with a smile. Then he saw me. He stared for a long time. I looked down at my shoes. I felt my face get hot, but I also felt something strange. I looked up again. He was still watching me. He did not look away. Then he started walking toward me. Slowly, he stopped in front of me. He did not smile. He said, "What's your name?" His voice was deep. I said, "Elena." He looked at me for a few seconds. Then he reached into his pocket. He gave me a white card. His name was written in gold. Victor Black, it said. He said, "Call me tomorrow." And then he walked away. Just like that. No more words. I went home that night and looked at the card. It was clean, expensive paper. His name and number were printed neatly. I put it on my small table. I could not sleep. I looked at the ceiling and listened to the cars outside. Why did this man want me to call him? What did he want? I thought about my mother. I thought about my debt. I thought about my cold room and my tired body. I looked at the card again. I felt nervous. The next day, I picked up the phone. I called the number. A man answered and said, "Wait for the car. It's coming." A black car came after 1 hour. The driver wore gloves. He did not speak. I sat in the back. The seats were soft like pillows. I looked out the window. The city looked different from inside that car. It took me to a tall building near the river. A woman opened the door. "Come in, Miss Elena," she said. The floor was marble. The walls were white. Everything was quiet. She took me to a small room. There was tea on the table. I waited. Then Victor walked in. He sat across from me. He looked at me with calm eyes. He said my life looked difficult. He said he could help me. He said I did not need to work so hard. He could give me a better life. He said I could live in his house. I could have food, clothes, rest, and safety. In return, I would stay with him. I would be his companion. Not a girlfriend. Not a wife. Just someone by his side. He said, "This is not about love. It is an agreement." He said I must follow rules. I must not ask about his work. I must not speak about our life. I must not see other men. He said he would give me money each month. I did not know what to say. My mind was full. He said, "Take your time. Think about it." I went home. I sat on my bed. I looked around my room. The walls were gray. My shoes were on the floor. I had 2 shirts, 1 coat, and some coins. I had no food in the kitchen. My body hurt. My heart felt heavy. I thought about my mother. She needed help. I thought about my life. I thought about the cold nights and empty mornings. I took out the card again. I called the number. I said, "Yes, I will come." The next day, the car came again. I put my few things in a bag. That was all I had. The house was big. It had tall windows and soft carpets. A woman showed me my new room. It had a bed bigger than my whole apartment. There was a big mirror. There was a closet with space for clothes I did not own. I sat on the bed and looked at the city lights. I felt like I was dreaming. Then Victor came into the room. He gave me a paper. It was a contract. It had many rules. It said I would live here. I would get money each month. I must not talk about anything. I must stay loyal. I must follow his rules. I read the paper. My hand shook. Then I signed it. That night I could not sleep. The bed was soft, but my thoughts were loud. I told myself this was not about love. It was about help. It was for my mother. It was for a better life. But deep inside, I felt something strange. I had food. I had a big room. But I did not feel free. I felt like I was in a golden box. A safe, quiet box with no way out. I closed my eyes. I told myself to rest, but my heart did not feel at peace. Before I share the rest of my story, I need to know, where are you listening from? Knowing someone hears me, understands me, gives me strength. I started my new life in Victor's house. It was very big and very quiet. I had my own room, but I was not allowed to go into his room. There were many places in the house, but I could only stay in a few. I could use the kitchen, the library, and the garden. The rest was not for me. I asked no questions. I followed the rules. Every week, Victor gave me money in an envelope. I did not need to cook. A woman came to clean and cook every day. Her name was Maria. She was kind but quiet. She spoke only when needed. She looked at me sometimes, but I could not read her eyes. I wondered what she thought of me. Maybe she thought I was lucky. Maybe she thought I was foolish. Victor came home late most nights. Sometimes I saw him at dinner, sometimes not. He never told me where he went. He never said good night. He was not cruel, but he was cold. He spoke in short sentences. He gave orders in a calm voice. When he looked at me, I could not tell what he felt. He smiled only once in a while. I did not know what he wanted from me. I only knew I was part of a deal. I had food, clothes, and safety. But I felt like a guest. I felt like a shadow in his world. Every morning I woke up and walked in the garden. The trees were tall. The flowers were perfect. But I felt something missing. I tried to be thankful. I had no more hunger. I had no more cold nights. I had no more bills. But I also had no voice. I was quiet all day. I stayed alone most of the time. I read books. I watched the city from the window. Sometimes I wrote in a notebook. I wrote about my mother, about my old life, about how I felt now. I wrote down my fears. I wrote that I missed being real. One day I walked past Victor's study. The door was open just a little. Inside I saw many books and maps. I also saw a picture on his desk. It was a photo of a woman. She had dark hair. She was very beautiful. She smiled in the photo. She wore a red dress. I had never seen her before. I wondered who she was. That night I saw Victor at dinner. He looked tired. I wanted to ask about the photo, but I remembered the rules. Still, I felt something in me push. I asked in a soft voice, "Who is the woman in the photo on your desk?" He stopped eating. He looked up. His face became hard. His eyes turned cold. "It's not important," he said. He picked up his napkin and left the table. After that, he did not speak to me for 2 days. The house felt even colder. I saw Maria in the kitchen. She made tea. I sat down and looked at her. I said, "Do you know the woman in the photo?" Maria looked at the floor. She said, "You should not ask about such things." Her voice was quiet. She picked up the tea and walked away. I felt a heavy feeling in my chest. There were secrets in this house. I was sure of it now. More days passed. I stayed quiet. I followed the rules. But I could not stop thinking. Who was that woman? Why did Victor hide her? Why did Maria look so afraid when I asked? One evening, I walked past the study again. The door was locked. I tried the handle. It did not move. I walked away quickly. I started to watch Victor more. He spoke on the phone in another language. He left the house at night. He met with men in suits. He came home late. Sometimes I heard loud voices in the hall. I started to feel something was wrong. This life looked perfect, but it was not. It was only quiet on the outside. One morning, Victor came to me with papers. He looked serious. He said, "I need your help with something important." I sat on the sofa. He stood in front of me. "It is about business," he said. "There is a deal. I need to be married on paper. Just for a short time. It will help me." I looked at him. I said, "Married to who?" He said, "To you. It will not change anything. We will live the same. No love. No promises. Just paper." My mouth felt dry. I said, "But I thought you didn't want marriage." He said, "This is not a real marriage. It is for business only. It helps me move money." It makes my company look better." He looked at me. "Will you do this?" he asked. "You already live here. You already follow the rules. This is just the next step." I did not know what to say. I felt like I was going deeper into something strange. I remembered the contract. I remembered the quiet house. I thought about my mother. I thought about the money. I said yes. A few days later, we went to an office. There was a man there with papers. I wore a simple white dress. Victor wore a dark suit. We signed the papers. There were no guests, no flowers, no photos, just a cold room and pens. I became Mrs. Black that day, but I did not feel like a wife. I felt like a tool. After the wedding, nothing changed. Victor acted the same. The house was the same. The rules were the same. But I felt different inside. I felt something heavy in my heart. I felt lost. I had a ring, but no love. I had money, but no joy. I wore pretty dresses, but I did not smile. People saw us outside. They saw a rich man and his young wife. They smiled at us. But I was acting. I was playing a role. I felt like I was in a play. I looked happy on the outside, but inside, I was quiet and alone. One afternoon, I wanted to surprise Victor. I made a small lunch. I went to his office in the city. The building was tall. The lobby was full of people. I waited near the front desk. Then I heard a loud voice. A woman was shouting. "He lied to me!" she yelled. "He said we would get married." Everyone looked. I turned around. The woman looked at me. Her eyes became wide. She pointed at me. "You!" she screamed. "You stole him! He was with me for years!" I froze. I could not move. Her name was Clara. She said Victor promised her marriage. She said he left her without a word. I ran out of the building. I felt sick. My hands shook. My legs felt weak. My heart beat fast. I went home and cried. When Victor came back that night, he did not speak about it. He acted like nothing happened. I could not stop thinking, was I just his next tool? Was Clara before me? Were there others? One night I saw his phone on the table. He was in the shower. I picked it up. There were messages from other women. Some said, "Call me." Others said, "I miss you." My heart felt cold. He was still seeing others. Even after our marriage. Even after everything. I sat on the bed and looked at the ring on my finger. I felt small. I felt like I did not matter. I felt used. I remembered the photo. I remembered Maria's eyes. I remembered the study, the locked door, the strange business talk. I could not take it anymore. I needed to know the truth. All of it. I needed to know who I married, what he was hiding, why he brought me into his world. I could not live in silence anymore. I had to find answers. I had to find my way out. I could not sleep that night. My mind was full. Clara's words stayed in my ears. The messages from other women stayed in my eyes. I knew Victor was not honest. I knew I was not the first. I was part of a game I did not want to play anymore. I sat in the dark and thought. I looked at the window. The city lights were far away. They looked cold, just like this house, just like Victor. I knew I had to do something. I could not live like this. I needed to find out everything. I needed help. I had to know who this man really was. The next day, I went out. I told Victor I wanted to buy books. He did not ask questions. He never did. I went to a small office near the train station. A woman there gave me a name, a private investigator. I met him 2 days later. He wore glasses and a gray coat. I told him the truth. I told him I wanted to know about Victor Black. I told him I wanted everything: his work, his life, his secrets. The man looked at me. He said, "This will take time and money." I gave him the money. It was the money Victor gave me every month. I used his money to search his life. 1 week passed, then 2. The investigator called me. He said, "I found things you should know." We met in a quiet cafe. He opened his bag and gave me papers. He said Victor's business was not clean. He said Victor used fake names. He moved money between fake companies. He worked with bad people. Some deals were not legal. Some papers were false. Victor was rich, but the money was dirty. He used people to hide it. He used women. He used names. He used me. Then the man told me something big, something that made my hands shake. He said, "When you married him, he moved one company under your name. It is legal. Paper, you own it now." I did not understand. He said, "This company is worth a lot of money. Maybe he planned to move it back later. But right now, the law says it is yours. Only yours." I sat still. My heart beat fast. I looked at the papers. My name was there. Not his. Mine. I left the cafe in silence. I walked slowly. The wind was cold. I thought of everything. Victor did not want me to have power. He wanted control. But he made a mistake. He gave me something real. I was not just a guest anymore. I was not just a quiet wife. I owned something now. Something big. He did not know I found out. He still thought I was weak. But I was not weak. Not anymore. I changed that day. I started to act. I smiled at him. I sat beside him at events. I wore nice clothes. I held his arm. I spoke little, but I watched everything. I listened. I waited. At night I read papers. I studied business terms. I learned how companies worked. I called the investigator again. He helped me understand more. I looked at numbers. I followed trails. Slowly, I learned his world. I knew who helped him. I knew who he lied to. I kept all the facts. Weeks passed. Victor did not see the change. He still thought I was just his doll. He did not know I had a plan. A plan to take back my life. A plan to use what he gave me. I was not going to run. I was going to win. One morning, I woke up early. It was our 1-year wedding day. Victor came to the table. He said, "Happy anniversary, Elena." I looked at him. I said nothing. I walked to the study. I took a folder from my bag. I put it on the table. "What is this?" he asked. I said, "This is the truth." He opened it. His face changed. He saw the papers. He saw I knew everything. He saw that I owned the company. I said, "You used me. You lied. You married me for business. But now the business is mine." He shouted. He said, "You are nothing without me." I looked at him. I was calm. I said, "I am leaving. And I am keeping what's mine." I took out another paper. Divorce papers. His hand shook. He said, "You can't do this." I said, "You gave me the power. I just learned how to use it." He looked small now. Not rich. Not strong. Just small. He knew he lost. He had no law on his side. He had no love to fight with. He gave me the contract. He gave me the papers. He gave me the door out. I packed my bag. I left the ring on the table. I walked out of the big house. I did not take the dresses. I did not take the shoes. I left everything behind, everything but the truth. I moved to a new place. I sold the company. I used the money to help my mother. I bought her a small house near the sea. I started a new job in a small office. I lived in a quiet street. I had peace